You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
The AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and Bing.com, and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies. This is AfterBuzz TV's The Following After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's The Following After Show.
Well, Bing is for doing, and we are doing the AfterBuzz Following show. That is Dancing. That is How the Gods Kill, which is from the show this week, which was, I think, sick. I'm Joe Sanfelippo. I'm joined, as always, by Joseph Braswell from Grantland and Extra.
This podcast starts at my desk.
That's right.
I'm trying to be polite. That's my Nick Donovan.
You feel better?
Yeah, it's my
All right,
Nick
good.
Donovan
That was his Nick Donovan. Okay. We've also got Teresa, noted network publicist.
Hello.
And Mr. Nando Velasquez, formerly of Attack of the Show, current genius.
Current genius. Thank you very much, Mr. Sanfelippo.
Absolutely. And I'm Joe Sanfelippo. Happy to be with you guys. This week's episode was disturbing. Like, straight up, for me, disturbing. Let's jump right into it, man. This was crazy this week. There's some stuff I didn't even like seeing. I was like, this is, I didn't care for that at all.
Like what?
Like Charlie and Roderick and the first victim, the way he took his time. It was too much for me, man. I that freaked me out. Like, you got to see like the real way he would have done it. Like you got, it's. I think it's all well and good, not well and good, but it's one thing to kind of have an intellectual conceptualization of like, oh, he cut their eyes out. But to see the girl tied down and he's enjoying that moment, he's getting in sync with her and all the other. That brought it to a whole different place for me. It was much more visceral and remarkably unpleasant.
So that was scary for you.
I was disturbed. I don't know. It wasn't like jolting scary. It was disturbing.
That was a very intimate scene.
Yeah.
It was a very, very intimate scene.
Yeah.
And it really blurs the line between sex and violence. And
Sure.
I think totally at the end, it mirrors that
Yeah.
with the two couplings.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I think that scene defined it, too.
I agree.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it was another sister down. Had to be.
Was that Olivia?
Oh, nope. Somebody else. You know, what do you do? But
Well, we got Nick Donovan though this week, and he's a charming character.
We'll get to him. But I think the episode was. I had some problems with this episode.
I did too.
Just some general problems. I think that it was a interesting episode. I think we're at the turn here, right? So we're 15 episode season. Mm-hmm. We're at the literal halfway point. So and at the halfway point we have Joe is escaped. He's met with his followers and his cult. And we know about Roderick and the game is afoot. We have a new FBI shift happening. So there's a new FBI shift, there's a new cult shift, and so we're gonna see what happens in the second half. I think this episode was really it achieved what it wanted to do in making that shift for us, making that transition out of this sort of cat and mouse game in the first half of the season into what appears to be this sort of master plan the second half of the season. But it felt a little clunky to me at points. I don't know. That's my take.
I don't know, man. It felt like it felt like the things just got off the rails a little bit with regard to the way the cult was shaping up, and I know it's due to the change in the structure, and I do think there's a lot of interesting things that happen, but I'm just so disturbed by that scene. That scene, I can't get it out of my head. It's been half an hour, and I still can't get rid of it, or maybe 45 minutes, however long it's been. It was just the most disturbing thing to see. But you're right, big shifts this week. Lots of big changes. Yeah. We got our boy Nick Donovan in there, who's taken over and has put Ryan Hardy on the back burner and totally sidelined him. We got Mike Weston. Clearly a follower, Nando.
All right, we'll get into that. I know I'm gonna get some heat. That's all.
What did you guys think, of the episode?
This was a major shift. This was, the past 2 weeks in particular, just lots of intensity. We saw things were changing, And kind of like, when you watch 24, and what's interesting about 24 is every 5 episodes, everything shifts. The threat has changed or mutated or something different's going on. We're clearly in a different realm. It's very unpredictable.
Tell me where the bomb is.
Yeah, well, not like that. Although we saw traces of that last week.
Right.
But with Ryan when he was digging his hand into David's
David.
Yeah, totally. And that's another thing. But it's just very, very unpredictable. Yes, unpredictable in the sense that I'm sure I got some things wrong that I was thinking about, possibly, and we'll go into that. And all of us, you were even questioning some of your previous theories yourself.
I had a thought that somehow or another Joe and Emma were not going to hook up, and clearly I was dramatically mistaken.
Please. What did you think, Teresa?
I thought it was really creepy, but I found it satisfying because last week I wanted to see 2 things happen. One, I wanted to see Emma and Joe's relationship unfold, and we definitely got to see that. And 2, I wanted the FBI to redeem themselves. And although they didn't quite do that, we did have, Mike, he didn't give up Claire's location, and Ryan came to his rescue in the nick of time, and he shot down 5 of their guys. So that was something.
Again, enormous bucket of FBI WTF. I mean, so we found the agent. He's over by the docks. We think it's the only place that the license plate matches the car description, and we just happen to find it. How many agents do we send? Well, let's send Parker and the guy who's not an agent. Anybody else? Nope, that should do it. And how many guys do you think? Who knows? SUV. There's like 7 people in the parking lot. Yeah, we got 7 people in the parking lot getting in the SUV, but let's send this one agent and then the half agent, and it'll be cool. Well, the half agent has a heart condition. I know. Send him. It's good. It's perfect.
You know what though? How many followers made it out of that MF?
Just 2, 3.
Exactly.
3, and then one of them
took out
3
5.
lead ones.
5 or 4.
He took out 5.
Thank you very much. You didn't need a whole FBI.
You just need
got
Ryan
Ryan
Hardy.
Hardy.
He didn't. Ryan didn't run this time. This time he creeped up.
He did. He creeped.
His heart was okay.
Yeah.
His heart was okay because he creeped.
We've learned that's the trick. He can't run. He has to creep.
But he's a dead eye though.
Oh, pop.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And I was just relieved to find out that Mike definitely isn't a follower. So we
No, wait, Nando, are you sure?
Slow down there, Teresa.
May not be able to let that go yet.
I
But
don't know.
in my mind,
All I know is when this twist happens, you guys are all going to be like, whoa! You're not going to see it coming.
Yeah.
I like that we got to see Joe trying to be a father, because you don't really think about it, but he's been in prison most of his son's life, and he's been such a father figure to all these people that have come to visit him, but he's never really been a father to his son.
Right.
And so that moment when Joey wakes up and Joe's there, kind of just waiting, that moment was, I think, very well. The scene was great. I thought the way they made it very awkward, and I thought the way James Purefoy played it was great, because he made it. It was awkward in a stilted way, and it didn't make it awkward necessarily coming from the kid. It was awkward coming from Joe, which I thought
he's
was a
trying
good
to be
choice.
the cool dad.
Right. Well, he did. I'm your friend. I mean,
Cool,
dad.
cool,
right?
fun
Dad.
guy.
Yeah, you call me dad.
I'm a cool and fun guy.
Yeah.
I wrote down, I'm a cool and fun guy. I'm not a horrible guy. I'm cool and
Is
fun.
that literally what he said?
Yeah, it's
Literally,
what it said.
I wrote it down too. We agree. Cool, fun guy.
Hey, I can have a little fun.
It's like Dad trying to figure out the terminology. Though, it's
Right.
worse because he was in prison, so he hasn't
Sure.
even had a chance to see other kids talking like in today's lingo.
He's learned other terminology. Probably not going to work well.
Yeah.
Right. I think his definition of cool and fun is slightly different than poor little Joe.
At least he didn't say rad.
Yeah.
That's one.
His been
You know what? If he'd said rad, it would have been rad. And that would be 3 shots so far if you're playing our rad drinking game.
There we
4. I really enjoyed that scene. But you know what the creepy scene in the beginning, the creepy shot, was that from the top of the stairs when you got to see all those followers lined up
Yeah,
in the lobby?
Yeah. Again.
That bothered you.
Well, no, the followers. It looks like next week we're going to really get into the followers actually executing this plan, but I really don't want to get into a situation where week to week we see the cardboard cutout followers sort of in the background with weird, creepy grins. I mean, they're in their house. I mean, a couple of them are shooting pool in the background. They're shooting pool
There's
back
an
there.
inspiration room they're working on for Joe.
I mean, is there chores to be done? Is there plans to be executed? We can shoot some pool, have a few laughs as followers. I don't know.
Well, I think Joe addressed that. I think they got that when Joe was taking the tour from Roderick, and he's kind of looking around the pool room like, what the hell is this? Like, why do we have a pool room? I thought he kind of had that look too.
They're shooting some pool.
That's how we do it. Shoot some
just
pool,
relaxing.
cut some broads. That's how we do it.
You know, it's a
follower.
It's a Mr. Miyagi trick, you know. If you're stabbing, it's like shoot the 8-ball. Shoot the 8-ball. Yeah, wax on, wax off. That's what it is.
And then what about my man Aaron, who when the guy who came in and told interrupted that moment moment between Emma and Joe.
Cockblock Aaron. That was
he came in. He was so cheery.
It's like, hey, you guys, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on, guys? What are you doing here? What's going on? He was
Emma's
so
like,
cheery.
I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, I don't know. So, well, anyway, the followers and the whole follower, Professor Xavier Mansion is a little. I'm having some issues.
Well,
with
no,
that.
I actually think that all kind of plays a little bit. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I like that we get to meet Roderick, and he's the town sheriff, and I like that we have the tie-in because I've been like, what can Roderick possibly be getting from Joe in prison that's enough for him to spearhead all this stuff? And I think we try to get there with that plot twist that he's responsible for killing 2 of the girls, but Joe took the hit for it. And Joe's point of view was, I'm going to be in prison anyway. So I think that kind of goes a little toward, it goes a ways toward making this whole thing kind of logically make sense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like a life debt.
Yeah, like I have a tough time figuring out why Roderick would be doing all the stuff he's been doing. I've said this for weeks. Like, we need this.
Well, I have a theory.
Super
on that.
motivation.
I have a theory, but I'll say that in a second. Are you guys okay with this mansion of followers? Or is it just me, or
I'm okay with
I'm
it.
okay with it.
Okay.
Well,
Cults, that's what they do. They get a big house, they put everybody in it.
Well,
I'm just saying.
This is upstate New York, right? I think we're assuming it's upstate New York. I'm trying to think. It's kind of like
I'm
the
not
Friends
saying
department.
that the followers should not exist. I mean, just what's happening. Like, are we? I don't know. I'm having some issues.
Well, I agree that there seems to be a lot of money being spent, and we still don't know the answer to that, unless Roderick is also a very rich trust fund kid who was a student and decided to become a sheriff all of a
I
sudden.
think they alluded to the fact that maybe they're in a small town that maybe Roderick is the sheriff of.
Yeah, he's the sheriff
Right,
of
Yeah,
the
he's
built
the sheriff
his
of that
life
small
there.
town. That's the
So-
town
And
where
he's
they're
kind
at.
of running the show.
He's running the show. I don't know if he's the mayor too, or
How small is the town?
it's Mayberry
Well,
situation.
he could just use his walkie-talkie to get a sandwich whenever
That's
he wants
true.
to.
With,
so
was it coleslaw or potato salad?
I think it was coleslaw, right?
Listen, sheriff's a big important job in this town.
But we also but the episode for me had some issues. But I will say it had some fantastic moments. I think the moments are great. Like, I love the moment we talked about, the flashback with Roderick.
Yeah.
And that was really creepy. I love the moment with our man in the interrogation room.
David took a bite out of his hand.
Yeah, that was some real.
That was knuckin'
That was some
futz, man. He
vampire
just
action.
I did not care for that at all.
Yeah, that was insane. So
I have the biggest problem with young people suicide for a cause. It just makes me so like
you're watching
so
the wrong show, pal.
Yeah, no doubt. Same thing with Charlie, but we'll get to Charlie. Well, no, we can talk about Charlie now. I mean, that last scene with Charlie.
Yeah.
When they roll out and I wonder, it's an interesting thing. Like once Louise rolled out that tarp, do you think it was kind of? Now I kind of want to give Joe the benefit of the doubt, but no, he doesn't deserve it because they changed. Like, once he rolled out that tarp, I was thinking to myself, well, Joe doesn't have a choice here, because they're so expecting him to do something. But then when he grinned, that creepy little grin there at the fireplace.
Are you suggesting that Joe didn't want to, wasn't prepared to kill him?
Or he had a moment of doubt where he wasn't going to go through with it.
I just wonder where, like, once you've created something like this, you've created this death cult, which is what it is. I mean, it's a death cult. So you've created this thing. You're the high priest of the death cult. I mean, you're kind of trapped. You're backed into a corner as far as what you're able to do and not do.
You keep coming back to this. You keep coming back to this. Joe's a little nervous.
No. But and clearly he's enjoying it much more than I kind of thought they'd go a different direction with it. But he's clearly enjoying the cult leader status. But I do think you're backed into a corner when you get these people to follow you based on your strength of your willingness to kill. And so when someone comes up as a human sacrifice to you, I don't know that you have much choice, but he didn't seem to have a problem with it.
Well,
he
again,
seemed pretty damn happy.
What I noticed from that interaction at the end was the embrace that they had. It was, until that point, it was more intimate than anything that Emma and him were trying. He was trying to do with Emma, or Emma was trying to do with him. He took that as a very intimate act. Right. And that thing was what scared me and made me nervous. Just the fact that he embraced him the way he did and was whispering in his ear.
It was almost like a love scene.
Yes, exactly. And it was like, thank you for your gift. Like, Charlie was giving him this gift of letting him kill him. And it was, it was just so
Well, the whole thing played out in a very ritualistic manner, right? It felt sort of the high priestesses were there, and,
right?
All the lead people, and the tarp was rolled out, and he kind of came out and gave the knife. It felt very much like a ritual, and essentially a sacrifice. It felt like a sacrifice, and Joe enjoyed it, and you're right. It felt very intimate, and you're right, Teresa. It felt like a love scene, which made it all the more creepier. I think, back to my moments, that was a great moment, I thought, in terms of advancing the story, advancing Joe's character. What we're seeing here, continuing to scare us. I really thought that was great. And then my last great moment, in that was the two love scenes at the end,
dude.
I mean,
but who was screwing who? I mean, the way they shot that, I want to allude to it later on. But I think you have these two dynamic leaders. You have Roderick and Joe, and it's I want to talk about it in a little bit, but I think it's going to be a power struggle eventually.
Sure.
Because Roderick built this thing, and now now Joe's taking over. And
Roderick a little pissed, like
and
he made a comment. He said, "If things are a little off here."
Yeah, like Joe's here, but I don't know, man. We were shooting pool, we're having a good time. Now Joe shows up.
I think that Roderick. You want my opinion? I think that Roderick kind of had this feeling like Joe was going to give Charlie a pass.
I could see that. I can agree with that.
Like
the sacrifice himself. The sacrifice was Charlie willing to give his life up. But that should have been enough.
Well, that's something I want to discuss. What was the reason for the ritual? Was the reason to enforce that you don't fail Joe and that Joe has the final say? And
I think part of it too, and we may have overlooked this because it was a couple of weeks ago, was Charlie was in love with Claire.
So he's got a lot of guilt.
He's got a lot of guilt, and Joe's even said earlier in the episode, not to Charlie, but to Emma, that he loves his wife, and he wants his wife back, and this is all about getting Claire back.
And, I mean, Charlie failed twice. Mm-hmm. Like, he's failed twice, and he said it made it very clear, I want my life to mean something. He is a follower, devout follower. I failed twice. I know what this means.
So his life meaning would be, the meaning for his sacrifice, his gift, would be that everyone knows you can't fail? There's repercussions?
I think it's like I died doing something that, advancing something that meant something.
But that's the question. What does it mean? Does it mean you can't fail? I mean, like, what is the sacrifice? What is the purpose of the sacrifice? That's what I want to. Does that make sense?
No, that makes complete sense. I can understand. I mean, the way I look at it ultimately is Charlie's got a couple of screws loose, so he felt that by sacrificing himself to his leader, being another kill for the man who he is following, that it means something, as opposed to, I don't know, living a less than ordinary life or dying some other way.
Right.
That would be the only way I could kind of put it together.
Yeah, I think it was a way of showing how screwed up some of these guys really are. I mean, he's really like the prime example of someone that's not mentally stable.
And it was interesting to me. The intimacy was clearly for Charlie. I don't think it was for Joe. Joe didn't need that. Joe enjoyed killing him. I think he really got a kick out of that. And I think he enjoyed that it was a gift, that he brought himself. I mean, that's the first time anybody's given themselves to him physically, directly, right?
That we know of, yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's. I mean, imagine what a powerful moment that must be for a psychopath.
Right.
That's got to be a powerful, terribly powerful moment for you.
Mm.
Creepy.
Yeah.
But that gift there, I think the intimacy was for Charlie, but the kill was for Joe. Structurally, I don't understand why, what purpose it served, unless it was to scare the other followers. So creeped me out. Worst thing I've ever seen.
There
were two things in this episode that really messed with me.
What was the second one?
When the girl was laying there with
the flashback
with Roderick and man.
Yeah.
There's things I
Did
just
you
don't
guys
understand.
notice that Joe stabbed both the female and then also Charlie in the same place?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it the kidney?
Standard method of
bleed out quick? No. There's a spot.
That what
I
it
don't
is?
remember if it's the kidney or the liver. Whatever it is that you bleed out faster.
Right.
And there's a spot you can get them. That's when you get them. There's a spot where you're supposed to bleed out quicker than other spots.
All right.
Joe. All right, Nando, tell me what leapt out at you, Mr. Nando.
Well,
what was your biggest leap this week?
Let's just talk about it, because I'm the one that always I have to practically interrupt the show to give you my whole Mike Weston flag of the week. And look, to be fair, every time I talk to anybody about this show outside of here, anytime I talk to anybody about the show, whether they even people who haven't had a chance to listen to the podcast but they know about it, they say, hey, that Mike Weston, don't you think he's one of the followers? And I'm like, yeah, that's my theory. I think he is. And I had all these plans. And you guys were giving me all this heat while we're watching the show, and halfway through, I'm even saying, "Oh, this is gonna be an awesome twist. This is gonna be an awesome twist."
We paused it.
We pulls that knife out.
Grief.
Right? I'm a follower.
I'm a follower.
I'm not really dead.
I'm just gonna beat him up a little bit, but he's really a follower. He's really a follower.
And
yeah.
Charlie knew exactly where to put the knife, so he just missed all the vital organs.
That's how they do it.
Joe Carroll's got this elaborate chessboard. We talked about this.
Right.
And this is move
17 moves ahead.
Move 17 is the elaborate stabbing of Agent Weston.
I will say that if
he's really a follower.
If Weston turns out to be a follower, I want to replay this episode just to.
He will be the deepest undercover follower
I know.
ever.
If he is, it would be an amazing twist. I'd love to see how they pull this off and make it believable.
Right.
But that being said, well, first of all, that scene was amazing with him and Roderick and that whole brutal Fight Club style blood sport type of.
This is the way the big boys in the cult play. Now, we don't play Truth or Dare up in the up in the attic.
Yeah, don't spin the bottle.
No,
Truth or Dare.
Yeah.
No, we play a different game.
Yeah, and by the way, before we even get to that, let's talk about your FBI WTF because we were fighting about that.
All right.
Okay, let's talk about that.
You're backing off it now.
No, I'm not backing off it.
Okay.
I felt when Mike Weston went back to the hotel, that was a big FBI WTF. I don't understand how the FBI has taken over this hotel and nobody, and we've had all these attacks on FBI agents and local cops have been shot and the SWAT team got whacked last 2 episodes ago.
Yeah. So in Joe Flippo's world,
I just figured there would be some FBI presence at the hotel. I didn't understand how they would.
At a nondescript hotel.
So in Joe Flippo's world, every FBI agent has his own security
we
detail.
take it from there. We go to the place where the FBI.
No, I'm asking.
No, I know.
In Joe Flippo's world,
there's nothing in between.
Every FBI agent has his own security detail. In Joe Flippo's
Everybody,
world, right?
There's a PFBI, a personal FBI for the FBI.
We need to create another government agency
Any
to guard the
politicians.
FBI. Is this what happens in your world?
Teresa, there's nowhere in between. There's nowhere in between. Either everyone on the planet gets their own personal security,
so
or
mad.
there's no security at all at the hotel.
Any
How
politicians.
is Mike Weston not guarded 24/7?
That's not.
How did he?
All I'm saying is I thought there would be more FBI agents at the hotel
He's a
that
trained
all the
FBI
FBI agents
agent.
were staying at.
If
He's
there are
got
any
armed.
politicians that are listening, I just want you to know that Joe Sanfelippo has a great idea how to spend more tax dollars. Just want you to know that.
For every FBI agent, I need 2 men guarding him.
Minimum.
And
Highly
for
trained.
those 2 men, we need 2 more men guarding them.
All right, I understand you guys don't agree with me on this. I'm not backing away though. I don't apologize. I didn't understand why there wasn't anybody at the hotel.
I like it when you're wrong. It's great.
No, but you were hollering out. You're
just happy that someone else is talking about something else. Anything other than Mike Weston is in the cult.
Listen, Joe, you're so quick to holler out FBI WTF. You love the FBI.
I'm sorry. In this show,
wait.
How do you not say
you
FBI
can't
WTF?
wait.
You love it when people mention WFBI.
I mean,
FBI WTF.
When Weston got he was like, oh, FBI WTF.
All right. I understand.
I'm just saying, slow down.
Okay, well that being said,
not every episode.
Slow your roll, shot
wow,
color.
we are off the rails today.
No, we went
It's
a little bit.
awesome though. It's
Just like
awesome.
the episode.
It's just like the episode, totally. So, well, that being said, even then, I kind of had a feeling that maybe, just maybe,
I think right up until the point when he punched Mike Weston in the head the first time, you thought he was going to be.
Actually, it was round 2. It took till round 2.
Was it the
Oh
lead
my
pipe?
gosh.
It was the lead
That
pipe.
was the lead pipe that finally you let go of it.
Wait a minute, that might have hurt.
No, I remember looking over at you at the first interrogation scene when Weston's sitting on the floor and they're all sitting around him, and you can see on your face you're like waiting for the high five.
Yeah, okay. You got me there. But that being said, I think we all kind of agree that there has to be a follower in the FBI. So, and I even said that maybe this whole Weston thing, maybe it's a little more obvious and it's a red herring. So maybe it's somebody else. That being said, well, we have a new character in Nick Donovan, and we always have Deborah Parker, and they keep showing that U.S. Marshal. He was shown in the tree as well, so you never know. He might be one too. If we're assuming that there is a follower in the FBI, if there's a mole in the FBI.
Oh, we're talking about Raj, the man with the glasses.
Yeah, got Raj.
Wait, is he a
Raj.
marshal or is he FBI? I think
No, he's FBI.
I thought he was a marshal.
I think he's
I thought he was
FBI.
Marshal.
Might be. You thought he was marshal too?
I thought it was
Yeah.
marshal
So
initially,
2 and 2.
but he's been.
I'm pretty sure he's FBI. We're talking about the one that came outside the restaurant when
Yes.
when Claire disappeared.
Yes.
The only brother not
Where
to,
did
not
she
to
go?
die yet.
Only brother not down. Obi Andy.
You know him.
But But yeah, so I'm just assuming.
Who had a strong presence in this episode.
He did. He was not there at all.
On the board.
Yeah,
He
on the
made
board.
I will say that this is interesting to me that there almost seems to be a bromance brewing. Like as we're seeing those two couplings, those two semi-sex scenes going on, there seemed to be a little bit of a bromance going on between Ryan and Mike. You know, Ryan going over to the hospital, watching over him, making sure he's okay. So I almost find that kind of interesting to see
It'll
that
be all the
connection
more
as well.
tragic.
They were all under the same music montage at the end too. So that might be an interesting.
I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah, we had we had two couples.
Nando's so good.
And then the third couple being those three.
Yeah. So there's definitely a connection there between the two of them.
I think it'll be all the more tragic when Mike Weston finally turns. All the more tragic when Weston is exposed as a follower.
You won't see it coming. You won't see it coming.
Because the bromance was so strong.
The romance was so
and
strong.
then all of a sudden,
That's it. It's a deathbed conversion, man. He's gonna get right at the end.
Oh gosh.
Adding on to the Mike and Ryan relationship, I thought it was nice to see Ryan really care for someone. You could see it when he's by his bedside and he learns that Mike was the only one who knew where Claire was, and he didn't give it up.
Yeah.
So I think that seals a relationship between the two.
That was an amazing tell too. That Weston all the time did know. He was lying from the start in that whole
That was strong.
interrogation. That's a really strong thing.
is this something he wanted to tell to Joe Carroll personally?
You went with at the next meeting. When they bring him in.
I saved it for you, Joe. I didn't trust Roderick.
You know, it's cool. He's gotten Ryan's respect now. Clearly,
Right.
it took a long time and a lot of beating.
It's like Mike Weston, WTF? Come on.
Right? Have they beaten you yet? No. Well, no respect. Well, Teresa, what leapt out at you the most this week?
I paid a lot of attention to the relationship between Emma and Joe. That was what I was looking out for. And you just see Emma in every scene with Joe just infatuated with him. You know, every scene she's trying to please him and she's trying to basically throw herself at him. And you see her for who she really is, and she's, you know, ultimately a girl that just wants to be loved.
Right.
And
That's a good point.
I think that
It's true. That's a good point.
that it's almost foreshadowing of what's to come. Joe tells her that he loves his wife. He says it to her twice. And, you know, who knows what's going to happen when Claire does come back into the picture. Emma's really comfortable in the life that she has right now. She, you know, is in a mother role with Joey. And, you know, all she really needs is
Claire out of the picture.
Claire out of the picture and
Not on our watch,
Joe.
right, Flippo?
Better not.
I mean, not on your watch. 'Cause
Right.
I'm for Valerie now.
Well, I have to fess up because last week I thought that there was no way Emma and Joe were going to get together. I thought Joe was going to take this high road. I've put Joe in high esteem. I just realized it. I've raised Joe up on this pedestal and he does some mean.
There might be a follower in this group.
Apparently
There might be one.
there could be a follower in this room. But I didn't think that they'd be hitting it like that, and I was wrong.
Hitting it like that.
I don't think you were 100% wrong because I don't. It's not. We said it was a love connection. You said it wouldn't be, and I wouldn't call what they're doing a love connection because
Right.
Joe admitted he loved his wife, right?
And she threw herself at him. And right after he was like high from the rush of killing Charlie.
Yeah.
So,
A little bit of booze, a little bit of murder,
Yeah.
a little bit of something.
so
Well,
now
I think
she's
she
hooked up
enjoyed
with
that,
3
too.
guys from the cult
Yeah.
now.
I
Paul,
think-
Jacob, and Joe.
Emma's,
Wow.
She's getting around.
She's getting around a little bit.
Don't forget when Valerie talked to us, she said that all the cult members, all the followers realize that they're going to be expendable at some point or they're going to lose somebody. So in her eyes, maybe she even realizes she might not be around. What I thought was interesting, before he actually ended up hooking up with her, I said it out loud. I said, well, apparently she's not good enough to sleep with and she's not good enough to kill.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
he kills
Yeah.
beautiful women and
I mean, he
people usually sleep with beautiful women, but he
takes
doesn't want to do
pleasure,
either with her.
Presumably in sleeping with beautiful women, he takes pleasure in killing beautiful women. So
Yeah.
where does Valerie Curry lie in that? And
Emma Hill,
lie in
yeah.
that. Yeah. Do you think? Well, yeah. In Emma's tactics. I mean, she was her. You know the towels. You need any towels?
Can I rub that on you slow? Oh,
Joe, towels? Are you?
you look like you got a lot of Charlie's blood all
Not-
over you. Can
exactly.
I wipe that
Before,
off?
like, whoa, slow down, Joe. You might be a little drunk here. Pressure pours more. Slow down, Joe.
Here's a bucket of scotch.
She wasn't very subtle with that. But also very insightful points about Emma. Need to be loved. We saw how Agent Parker got under her skin. Before talking about the mother, and we thought her whole motivation seems to be, I need somewhere to belong to. Joe takes the place of that parental figure, and to the point where she's in love with him, and so it'll be interesting to see what happens when Claire comes in the picture.
Right. And also to the point where she's lying to Joe because he asked about Paul and Jacob, and she said that she hasn't heard from them yet.
Right. Well, I think because she knows that situation went quite awry, and she knows that in her holding that situation together, there's a lot of shit went down. I mean, she's we know that Jacob is not quite what he's cracked up to be. She's kind of covering from him. Paul Paul had his doubts in the beginning, and Paul was good. Then Jacob had his doubts. Then she slept with both of them to hold them together, and it's all a mess. And now she left them both. It's kind of like
I think our girl Emma likes to be loved by the alpha. What do you think about that? I mean, it seems to me like she was into Jacob when she thought he was an alpha. And then as soon as we find out that he's really not, he hasn't killed anybody, then Paul was the alpha in that proximity, in that little section. So she was with Paul. And then, Jacob, that was kind of became like a pet project almost. It felt very paternal almost from her point of view. It didn't feel like that same level of lust and want that she now feels for Joe. I mean, he's the ultimate alpha, and she's turned on like crazy after he's killed Charlie.
Sure.
And, what do you think about that? Is that a thing?
I mean, Joe's Joe. I don't know that Joe is the ultimate alpha. I think that Joe trumps everybody.
Right.
So it's not. I mean, your theory is. I think the theory is correct, but I think that it stops at Joe. I mean, there's no on the top of that alpha pyramid. Joe's the top of the pyramid.
Top of the food chain.
She's there for Joe. She wants to be with Joe. Everything goes back to Joe.
I think it goes back to something that James Purefoy said when he was discussing about his research on cults and cult leaders, and how cult leaders find what's missing in people's lives and tries to fill that, or like a seed tries to let it grow. And I think the one thing that those three characters, Paul, Jacob, and Emma, they definitely felt very isolated and alone. We don't know much about Paul still, but they all had their own history where they felt very alone and out there. And I think they just liked bonding with each other, and I think they just wanted someone to. There's an attraction there, but I think they're trying to fill something else. Besides their killing spree, or in Jacob, his non-killing spree. But I feel that they need an attachment. They need something to attach to. And Emma's following through on that. And, of course, Joe's the main guy that they all look up to in the end. So
right, and Emma probably didn't have a father figure growing up, so this is her filling the void.
Yeah.
I do think we can. We should psychologically examine. I mean, what the motivation is. But I do feel like there is some straight up lustful bloodlust in everybody in this show, and I think that really can't be overstated. I mean, that those two sex scenes at the end that were interspersed between each other. I think metaphorically, you got Joe and Roderick kind of going at each other in a lot of ways, and interesting stuff, man. I think that was that whole thing is just bloodlust and so much oomph, but I think that there's so much bloodlust between just Emma smells that. I think she digs that. I mean, yeah, she's feeling something and there's a void, yada yada, but I really do feel like there is a lot of bloodlust in that chick.
Yeah,
that character.
I agree. That's what makes her so hot. No, I completely agree.
Dr. Braswell, what leapt out at you this week aside from the hotness of the bloodlust?
No, particularly, like I said, I had some problems with this episode. I think it really stems from the introduction of the new FBI big man in charge, our guy Nick Donovan, right?
Nick Donovan.
Nick Donovan, not Mick Donovan as you call him.
We thought it was McDonovan.
Mick Donovan, the Irish black guy.
Maybe he's
Mick Donovan. No, I'm like Nick Donovan. You guys are so sure it's me. Anyway, so yeah, Nick Donovan. Yeah, he. Look. I get that we needed to sort of clear up some of this FBI WTF. I think that was a plot device to have someone come in and have the speech that Joe Sanfelippo has been saying. Like, he literally said your speech.
Yep.
He's like, he's escaped twice from the FBI.
Second time in a helicopter.
In a helicopter, he flies off. I'd say there's been a security breach here is the thing. So, but yeah, I just kind of get a little sick of the whole, the standard cliched tough brother who's going to come in here and banging his fist and I'm in charge now and I'm not so polite and I doubt that and who's doubting every single plausible theory. Like if you're let's roll. You be Kevin Hardy. Give me a theory.
Listen, I think water's wet, and I think when you're outside in the rain, you're gonna get wet.
Whoa, not so fast. I don't know about that.
No, the water's wet, man.
I don't know about that, Joe. I'm in charge.
You know what? You're right. I'm gonna go to the lobby. I'm out.
I don't know about that. All right.
But hey, Joe. Other than the fact that he's a brother, as you said, I'm getting away with it because you said it first. What other show kind of has an agent coming in the middle of the season sometimes and just derailing everything for another agent?
We doing 24?
Yeah, very 24. Isn't that very?
Yeah, it's very 24. I mean, but again, we're at this middle point of the season here. We're at the arc. There's a turn here, so we need something happen. Something's gonna happen. The only good news I can say about this character, I didn't like the character at all. I hope that they give him a little more to do other than frown and bang his fist. Just like I asked for Agent Riley, I'm like, I hope they give a little more for Agent Riley to do than to frown and bang his fist. They gave him something to do. They gave him a knife to the neck. They found something for him to do, which is die. So I hope that they give a little more development to Agent Donovan's character, other than to be a frowning, doubtful person who comes in there and do the thing. But if not, I can certainly count on, based on our show, that he won't be around for long because I'm sure he'll be dead soon. Kevin Williamson. What the F?
Oh, man.
So you want him to be an ABD or an NABD?
He might be I don't know. I hope it's not another brother down, but we'll see. Agent Donovan. I don't know. So we'll see what happens with my man. What did you guys say? I'm not doing a thing. I don't mean to make this a race thing, but like, it's just, I want to see it. I didn't like the character.
I don't think it's a race thing at all. I just think it's like you said it was a little cliche, and like I said, it reminded me of 24 a little bit.
Right.
He's here. He's derailing everything. Anytime Ryan wants to say something or look at something, he's got to grab the notebook.
Right.
He's
notebook.
Yeah,
I don't know about that notebook, Nando.
Exactly.
Not on my watch.
Well,
I'm in charge now, Nando. Ain't no notebooks on my watch.
Only thing that's missing is I want your badge, I want your gun on my desk right now. Give me your badge, give me your gun.
I don't know.
What was it? It was the dossier, right? They had a dossier,
Yeah, dossier.
on who was it? It was on
David, I believe.
It was on David.
Information on David.
Yeah, out and you're out. They took it away.
I'll take that.
That's right,
brother. I know who that was. Anyway, that's my thing. I mean, what did you think? Did you have any problems with Donovan?
I did too. I feel like the past episode, Ryan ran into the same thing with was it the guy whose daughter was locked up?
The warden?
Oh, the warden.
The warden was,
Right, was shutting him down left and right.
Shutting him down.
Yeah.
Now
he had a daughter in a cage.
Right.
I mean, the brother's got a tie and a badge.
Oh, no.
Well, you have to assume also.
Why is he so mad?
You just dropped an no.
No,
you have to assume also that as we hope that the FBI is getting smarter and they're starting to follow these guys, so to speak, they're starting to get smarter, you have to throw a wrench in there.
I get it. But what sense does it make the guys who are on the case, Mike Weston, Agent Parker, and, the guy at the center of all of this, Agent Hardy, for him to come in and go say, "You three guys, I don't know what you're doing, but get the hell out of here."
Well, no, I wonder though. As the device, if you look at Nick Donovan as a device, I think you're right though. What you said in the beginning, that he comes in to kind of give credence to the entire institution of the FBI by saying, "What the hell's been going on?
Right.
This is goofy.
Right.
The fact that all these things happened and they shouldn't have." So I think that I as a plot device, I like him. As a character, I think he is, grossly underwritten, and hopefully he becomes charming and interesting next week. But it seems like it seems like even if he is charming and interesting next week, it's not going to be particularly interesting.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's going to be pretty cliche the way he turns the corner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hope so.
I'm sure we're going to see more of him. We didn't get to see too much.
He's running the show.
He's running the show now, so we're going to see more of him.
I'm rooting for him.
Yeah.
Till he dies.
3 episodes? 2.
We'll see.
Well, we should
Wow,
put a
let's
pool
do a
together.
pool.
We'll see.
Let's do a death pool.
A
on
death
Donovan.
pool. That'd be rad.
That would be rad.
What is that, 5?
It's 5. Now he said it again, so it's 6. Now you
It only
should
counts
be
when you
really
say it.
enjoying the show.
It only counts when you say
Does it only count why I say it?
I think so.
Oh, people are only in for 3 then?
Yeah.
Rad.
That's
You're
not
welcome.
fun.
Rad.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what leapt out at me this week was this Joe and Roderick thing. Because this is going to be an interesting relationship going forward. You've got the guy who built this cult who's not really Joe. I mean, Joe's the figure, but the guy who built the cult is Roderick.
Yeah.
He's the guy who, he's running the town. He arranged the Charles Xavier Mansion. He's got everybody together. He's been doing recruiting Joe doesn't know about. He's got people that are probably only loyal to him. He's set up the whole thing, and then Joe drops in from out of prison. If you look at it from like a religious standpoint, then you got Joe Carroll as the Jesus figure, and then you got Roderick as almost like a Paul. He's building this church for Joe, and when Joe comes back, now things are different, and things are out of Roderick's hands that have been in his hands, for a long time. I think this dynamic is going to be really interesting, and I like the casting of Roderick, another guy with a deep part, but I really think this is going to be a dynamic, really interesting relationship, and it's going to be, I think, a power struggle eventually.
Right.
Because you've got two dynamic guys, and they're both kind of growing this thing. But when the Messiah figure comes back, you're not in charge anymore.
Right.
If you build a cult around waiting for somebody, when that somebody comes back, whatever you wanted to do is out.
I was not in love. Full disclosure, I was not in love with the casting of Roderick. I was a little disappointed when the mysterious Roderick came out, and it's just some nondescript kind of.
You wanted a
I don't
shaved
know
head,
who
hardcore dude.
I don't know who I wanted. I wanted maybe one of my man from last week, the guy who died.
Oh, what's his name? Oh, crazy guy from the
Neil,
garage.
what's his name? Anyway, but I really,
I just kept thinking you look like a Backstreet Boy.
Yeah, that's exactly. I'm like, that's Roderick. Right,
He's cute though. You guys have Natalie Z. I now have Roderick.
Oh, you love Roderick.
There we go.
Cute,
We're finding love everywhere on the show.
But I will say, once that foreplay scene. When he choked out your girl. And
I thought he was choking Louise out. I thought there was no question about. I thought she was going down.
Like 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah,
Crazy.
that was. Nando was like, it's just foreplay.
Yeah.
Who are you hanging out with?
Yeah.
I'm never going to any party you invite me to.
But that
we're having a party. Bring a ball gag.
They just killed Charlie. He's not gonna kill Louise too. She
Right.
looks pretty necessary.
and Louise, she's like, should we go? That was interesting too. The whole go and break another headboard.
Yeah, I mean, it was network, so you couldn't say what they obviously wrote the first draft.
But I will say that seeing him in action there, I thought, oh, okay, there's Roderick. There's something happening there. So I'm starting to believe him. I do like him now. I was a little concerned at first, but I'm more intrigued by Roderick.
I'm just surprised with the build-up with Roderick for the past couple of weeks. I really kind of thought that I not that there aren't that many characters that we don't know about by now, but I was really hoping it would be somebody a little more like, oh wow, that I don't know, someone that we've seen before in some kind of capacity or something that made more sense. He kind of just popped out of nowhere.
You wanted a little more of a name to show up.
I didn't want it to be Mike. No, I didn't want it to be Mike, but I'm telling you guys.
Yeah, you did.
I'm telling you guys, no, I didn't want it to be Mike, but I just thought for some reason with that build up that we would have a clearer image of who Roderick was. So that just surprised me. So yeah, I was a little surprised by him.
I truthfully like the choice. I like that he is, again, clean-cut white kid, can go anywhere he wants, do anything he wants. No one's going to look at him twice.
Is that how it works for you, Joe?
Just the sad reality of what I've noticed in life. And you screw up a little bit, and you're allowed to get away with it. But I think that what I liked about Roderick was again this whole building this thing, and then the look on his face when he's sitting on the couch there at the end. Like, I built this for this guy with Charlie. Charlie gave himself to him. Joe didn't have to do that, and he killed him. And there's nothing I can do about it because I built this whole thing around Joe.
Right.
That was, to me, that's interesting.
There was something about if when I was running things around here, I wouldn't have let that happen.
That wouldn't have happened.
Well, and he lost 5 agents just now in that op too. So he lost 6 people, and he valued Charlie enough to be the enforcer in that Bloodsport type game. So.
Sure. Well, we should mention that. I mean, we haven't really got into it, but that they alluded to the fact that these guys are, I think they call them Clearwater, which is like a Blackwater,
No, I think they called her Blackwater.
I
think
think
straight
Blackwater.
up they said Blackwater.
Okay, so they're obviously some deep private security paramilitary Halliburton guys, So that's interesting. But I guess we're led to believe that maybe Roderick. These are all in Roderick's unit because all these people are part of Roderick's team.
These are Roderick's guys, and he tells Joe, "Hey, we lost 5 guys," and Joe doesn't care. He doesn't bat an eyelash. He doesn't even look up.
What about Claire?
Where's exactly?
We'll still get Claire.
That is still my deal. So what have you done for me lately?
Right.
You know?
I see a lot of similarities between Roderick and Joe also. They're both very charismatic. They're good looking. They're leaders. And I think that plays into your whole power struggle theory later on.
Absolutely. I mean, it can't help but happen.
Poor Roderick. He's like, I can run this cult.
I got this.
It ain't so hard. I can be a cult leader.
You know, it's one of those things. You know, if you build, you know, if Jesus came back tomorrow, would the church be like, yeah, whatever you want, Jesus? If Jesus told the people of the Vatican to sell everything, they'd be like, what? Sell it, sell all of it. You don't need all this. Tear it down, give it all the money away. They'd be like, I'm sorry, what? You know, I mean, you imagine? You know, so I mean, it's just a little microcosm of that. I mean, it's an interesting dynamic that's guaranteed, I think, to pop off. There's no way around it.
Sure.
I want to thank you guys. We want to thank you guys who are listening on iTunes because we love you. And if you're going to continue to rate us, please continue to rate us with 5s because we love 5s.
Well, actually, more than that, I want to specifically thank you guys because you have made us number 1 again.
Are we number 1?
We were number 1 on this week on at the number 1 AfterBuzz downloaded AfterBuzz podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone.
We dipped all the way down to like number 9 or something, and then we clawed our way back up to number 1. So thank you very much. That's all because of you guys on iTunes, and we're up to number 18 in the top 100 on iTunes, which is
at one point. Yeah, we've been fluctuating, but we're up pretty high. It's awesome to see that.
Don't
downplay.
I looked at that thing. It's at 18, Nando.
Okay.
That was good. But thank you very much, you guys, and thank you for all the comments and all the feedback on Twitter and on YouTube and especially on iTunes. We really, really appreciate it. All of it.
Yeah, if you guys got something to say, we love to hear it, please. And
questions and feel free to ask
comments.
questions.
Absolutely.
We'll try to answer everything. You know, either on the YouTube.
If you agree with me about Mike Weston, please feel free to write.
If you're still clinging to this.
iTunes or Twitter. Thank you.
And I think we're almost at 100 followers on Twitter. Let's try to get there this week.
We could fill our own McMansion.
We'll use a pool table and a.
We do.
Pool table.
We don't have a pool table.
A pool table and some scotch, and where we got ourselves.
We'll get one of those virtual pool apps on the computer screen. You just play with the mouse
just as good. It's just as good.
Right. And then Serial Buddies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So the producers of AfterBuzz, Maria Menounos and Kevin Undergaro, and a couple and Phil Svitek, a lot of people here, they worked on this project, this movie called Serial Buddies, which we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks, and it just came out in limited release in several big cities: New York, Los Angeles, Boston, Chicago, San Francisco. It just came out this Friday. I got to see it actually for the first time, so it was so much fun. It was hilarious. It was great.
Excellent.
It's a serial killer buddy comedy movie. So and there's a lot of good names in it. Maria Menounos is in it, and then Kathy Lee Gifford's in it. Artie Lang is in it. He's great in it. Chris McDonald, Henry Winkler narrates it.
The Fonz.
The Fonz. He's in it too. So they actually have a really good cast in there too, and a couple of up and comers. And yeah, we went. It was a pretty full house. A bunch of us went, and we had a blast. It's out, I believe, just for this week in limited release right now. So go check it out. Give it a shot. If you see it, it helps us. It helps us here at AfterBuzz, and you know, just show your love for us. I've seen it.
It's here in Los Angeles and Burbank, but it's Los Angeles, Chicago, San Francisco, Boston. So check it out. New York, of course. New York.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Yeah, so check it out.
All right, well, should we talk about some news and gossip? We got some news and gossip this week?
AfterBuzz.
I think we do. I think we do. Joe, what do we got news and gossip-wise?
We really don't have that much news and gossip. But
Build that up.
We don't have we don't have a lot. But we are our personal news and gossip. We are working on getting some special guests in here in studio with us. So we're very much looking forward to that happening. We're it's someone that you'll be very interested in, Joe.
I think there's Tabasco involved, if I recall correctly.
We'll see.
I'm not saying.
We don't know what it is, maybe. We'll see. But other than that, we have nothing. We have Kevin Bacon was on Larry King.
Yeah, I heard that.
He taped that, so that we're going to see that coming up very soon. And Larry King has also been very vocal about his watching of The Following, saying that he loves the show. And what did he say specifically, Teresa?
It's the most suspenseful TV show.
Right.
On air now.
And he's been around for a long time, so.
Long time.
He's seen it all.
Couple 3 weeks.
So that's it. We got Larry King, we got Kevin Bacon, and we got more guests to come, hopefully in studio at some point.
All right.
That's all I got.
Let's talk about some predictions.
And now, your AfterBuzz.
It's like a surprise every time.
Prediction.
All right, Teresa, what are your predictions for next week?
So I haven't really been convinced that Agent Parker could possibly be part of the following. But this episode, for some reason, it really bugged me that when the followers were escaping and getting into the SUV, she was shooting, but she didn't shoot right away, and she missed.
No, she hit it. It was a bulletproof SUV, just like the helicopter. Did you see him bouncing off?
Yes.
She did say, "Stop, FBI!" and they got in the car, and then she
Right. It just seemed a little off to me. So I think we may get some more clues the next episode into who she really is.
You think Mike Weston's off the follower list, but
He's
Parker
off.
is on the list?
Parker's on my radar now.
All right, so we're keeping an eye on Parker. Nando, are you okay with that?
I'm okay with it.
All right.
It's her prediction. She's allowed it. She's allowed to have a prediction.
All right, Nando, you have to back away from a current prediction. Have you got anything to replace your Mike Weston
Well,
theory?
once Mike Weston turns, my prediction is
we will all eat a bunch of crow.
base note. Well, actually, forget. Take him off the table completely. Based on what we've seen from next week's episode, Paul and Jacob seem to be back in the picture, and Emma seems to be getting a little bit of a browbeating. So I predict that Emma's going to get punished. Not sure exactly how. Maybe she'll get sent away.
Out?
Maybe she'll get. No, I don't think the plastic will come out. Maybe she'll get sent away from the house and do something really menial job, because obviously she treasures being close to Joe. So I have a feeling she's going to be shunned by Joe once this information comes out and punished.
Banned from his presence.
Possibly banned from his presence. Yes.
All right. All right. Joe, what do you got for us?
I think that we're going to have an inevitable showdown between Kevin Bacon, Ryan Hardy, and Nick Donovan. I think that we had a little bit of that, but I think that with Mike Weston gone and down, I think next week we're going to see a nose-to-nose showdown, power struggle between those two, and we'll see how that turns out.
So you think a big fight, Nick Donovan, Ryan Hardy?
I mean,
who's in charge of who's driving this bus?
Well, we know who's driving the bus, but we'll see. I think there'll be a confrontation of sorts.
All right. Well, my prediction for not only if it's going to be for next week, but it's going to be at some point, Roderick and Joe are going to have a big power. There's going to be a power struggle in the cult. It's gonna be. I think there's going to be a split. There's going to be a schism in the church, as it were.
A schism in the church?
A schism in the church.
Between the who's and the what? The true believers?
No, I'm saying between the Rodericks and the Joes.
The Rodericks and the Joes.
Yeah. That's what I think is going to happen.
All right.
That's it. That's all we got.
I love it.
Thanks, you guys, for joining us again this week. We will see you next week. Nando Val, where can we find you, sir?
You can find me at Twitter at NANDOVEL, and also a couple of shows here, Amazing Race now, Celebrity Apprentice, and The Walking Dead.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Nice. Teresa Law, where can we find you?
You can tweet me at Following Buzz.
At Following Buzz. Joe Braswell, where can we find you, sir?
You can find me on Twitter at Joe K. Braswell. You can also find me tomorrow night on Justified here at AfterBuzz. Also on The Americans. AfterBuzz Wednesday night. And I'm still at Grantland.com, my wonderful series on ILM and Lucasfilm and the Avengers and all that good stuff is still running. New one airs every Thursday. Check that out, Grantland.com.
And how many are you in now for the ILM piece?
We're at episode 5.
Episode 5. If you guys haven't checked it out, Grantland, look up the ILM deal. It's about 3-minute episodes, 2.5 minutes?
About 3 minutes.
About 3 minutes, and they're fantastic. Give you full insight into how that whole thing is built and was built and how it continues to go. And Joe, we can find you at, you already told us.
Yeah.
All right, and you can find me at Following Buzz, and I will be joining you this week on The Americans.
Yes.
Which is very exciting.
The Joes are back together again.
Absolutely. And you can all, and please, everybody, if you've not yet checked out Escape from Planet Earth, please do it. Take the kids, and you guys have a beautiful week.
From Bing.com, executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later!
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.